Mike is out on the patio with Ron. He's like whispering. He's going to tell Ron something. I don't know why Mike would choose Ron of all people to tell this little secret to. Why would he expect Ron to not say anything? Hi, I'm Ray Arcade. Welcome to my channel. Today, we are going into Jersey Shore Season 4, arguably the darkest season of Jersey Shore so far. Jersey Shore, Italy, began filming in May of 2011. This was 1 year after Season 3 had filmed, so the next summer. However, there were a lot of stipulations going into the filming of Season 4. The town of Florence, where Jersey Shore was going to be filmed, had a mayor at the time named Matteo Renzi, who seemingly spoke for the people of Italy at large when he was none too pleased that Jersey Shore would be coming to Italy. In order to film in Florence, you need permits. They had originally given MTV permits to film in Florence, but then revoked them under some very strict guidelines that they had to agree to. These stipulations including no filming in bars or clubs where alcohol was being served, which immediately in the first episode is not done. So I don't know if that was something they just ignored or something that they agreed upon that they could do eventually. They also could not be seen drinking out in the streets or causing a ruckus in the streets of Florence to promote a bad reputation, like Florence is a party town. They did not want that reputation. They also were not allowed to film in historic buildings, but they also wanted MTV to portray Florence in a positive light, full of history. So it's like, how can you push them to make Florence this historic, beautiful town if you won't let them film in their historic, beautiful buildings? I don't know. Clearly, this was already setting up Season 4 to be a bit of a less fun time. On top of that, Vinny is the only castmate who can kind of speak Italian, so they were very much fish out of water. Mike was into his heavy drug use at this point and began going through active withdrawal in Italy because he did not have drug connections. And on top of all of that, apparently Jenny had had a miscarriage with her boyfriend, Roger. She had had a miscarriage right before she left to go to Italy. So, yeah, darkest season of Jersey Shore. That being said, let's get into it. Today, we are covering Jersey Shore, Italy, Season 4, Episode 1, called Going to Italia, and it premiered on August 4th, 2011. Also, if I look like a little extra today, I just came back from a midsummer festival, so I really went for it. We open on Snooki getting her passport and her photo taken to go to Italy, and she's wearing the most insane outfit.
Cool.
Perfect.
You know, Italy's like that big country. No, Europe is that big country. And then you have like Britain in there and England and Italy. Italy!
Pauly D is getting ready to go to Italy by spinning some records, I guess, hyping himself up. Deena is out to dinner with some of her friends, and they're discussing Italian culture. It's funny because I actually know one of the girls, one of her friends at this table. She grew up around the corner from me, so she was like kind of like a childhood friend. It's funny, but it's also not surprising because, like I said, I grew up pretty close to where Deena is.
I'm so excited to go to Italy. I'm going to do everything.
Wait, that was for hello language. What do you thank you?
Vinny is practicing Italian because his mom is from Sicily and he has family there, so he really wants to learn the language. Snooki is at home getting ready, and we meet her boyfriend.
I started to see this guy. We've been together for 6 months.
God.
Does he look familiar to you? Do you remember Bernard from Season 3? The one-night stand Snooki had? She said his wiener was unimpressive, and she had no interest in seeing him again. Well, his name is Jionni, and now he is her boyfriend. I truly do not know how they ended up together after that little foray in Season 3. I've read somewhere that she said they reconnected on Facebook, which is very 2010s coded, and they started chatting from there. She says that Gianni's a little bit nervous about her being around Vinny because of their on-again, off-again thing. But Snooki assures us she is no longer into Vinny. Mike is getting ready with his friend Jionni, the unit. These two are something else, Jenny is still with Roger and they're working out together. We get to visit Ronnie in the Bronx.
What up, Italy? Single Ronnie's back. Single Ronnie, worrying about himself, going to Italy with 3 of his boys.
Single Ronnie is back. Yeah. I think Single Ronnie is code for twat. Also, his haircut in this season is ridiculous. It's basically an Edgar, but his head is so pointy at the top. He used to have a faux hawk, which I think hid his skull shape because, why is his head so fucking pointy? Also, he's so ready to never get back together with Sam. Sam is getting ready with her family, and she is so over Ron. Do you guys remember going into season 2 where they said this same exact thing? Feels like deja vu. The night before leaving, the boys all get together at Vinny's house to have a big farewell and collect themselves, and the girls do the same at Deena's house. There's a big montage of each group making their way to Italy, and it's edited like the girls are in chaos and the boys are calm and collected. The boys end up getting to the house first.
We pull up to this house. It's humongous. I don't even know what it is. They got these big doors that could fit King Kong in them. They're so huge.
The steps up are insane. So apparently MTV had a hard time finding living accommodations for the whole cast. So they ended up renting out a whole bank and they had to retrofit everything to turn it into an apartment, including a bathroom and a kitchen because obviously an old bank wouldn't have those. They also built an outdoor patio area because they had a hard time finding a place with an outdoor area. And if you pay close attention, the door to the patio is actually just a window. Vinny and Pauly choose a 3-bedroom together with the assumption Deena will room with them. And Mike and Ronnie decide to room together, because they love each other so much. The girls arrive. Everyone is saying hi. Ron and Sam have an eerily similar hello like they did in Miami.
Ronnie looks good. I mean, it's so difficult seeing your ex-boyfriend, but he looks really good.
I don't think Ron looks good, though, but I don't know. Also, while we're here, let's talk about something. Ron is very built, and it's said he's too big for the Italian furniture. In fact, he sits on a little table and breaks it immediately. Here's my question for you guys. Was Ron on steroids? I don't know why I never thought too in depth about this, but he's kind of got that roid body and roid rage going on. Do you think Ron was on steroids this whole time? Deena establishes her type of guy currently. In particular, one type of guy she's into currently.
But going into Italy, I'm definitely more into the Pauly type. Pauly is lean, good looking.
We're gonna hear Deena bang dudes in her bed, yo.
Maybe we could be like Smush buddies. Friends with benefits.
I'm sure this won't turn into anything creepy or awkward. He's on his back, very comfortable with his foot up. Anyway, the gang goes out to see Italy at nighttime and it's very beautiful. Deena and Sammy are out on the patio with Mike, and Deena establishes that the only people in the house that are taken are Snooki and Jenny. And Mike says,
I thought Snooks was single.
No, but I love Jionni for her, though.
I thought she was single.
You thought Snooki was single?
Yeah.
But I thought they were...
I think she's gonna be single out here.
He's being very odd and cryptic. Snooki seems very weirded out about the things that he is saying. Sammy is talking to Snooki and Deena how she wants to keep things separate with Ron, blah, blah, blah. We also learn a new wake-up routine from Pauly.
Wake up, bro. We're in Italy, you idiot. Everybody needs to wake up. We're not sleeping away this time here in Italy. Instead of a grenade whistle, we got this grenade horn. I'm waking everybody up. We need to hit GTO.
The gang starts realizing just how out of water that they are here because they can't read the map. They have no idea where they are. They have 2 cars, but they're stick shift. So the only people who can drive are Pauly and Snooki. And inside the cars, the navigation system it's in Italian. Mike is out on the patio with Ron. He's whispering. He's going to tell Ron something.
Drunk one night in LA and we sort of had sex. But the 3rd or 4th time that we hooked up was recent. And that's when she had the boyfriend, and that's when supposedly it was serious.
Ron actually gives Snooki the benefit of the doubt. And also, I don't know why Mike would choose Ron of all people to tell this little secret to, because him and Mike have a history of not trusting each other. So why would he expect Ron to not say anything? The gang is getting ready to go out to the club for their first time in Italy. We get a little Italian lesson, and Paulie learns a new stim.
Paul would be like, Taxi sono qui.
Taxi sono qui.
Taxi sono qui. Taxi sono qui.
Taxi sono qui. Sono qui. Sono qui.
Ready? Let's go. Let's go.
Taxi sono qui. Sono qui.
Mike is trying to pick up a woman, but it's awkward because she only speaks Italian because we're in Italy, duh. And so the only way that the guys are going to be able to pick up women is to have Vinny translate, which is awkward because obviously you can't really spit game effectively like that. Mike ends up getting rejected, and you can tell that he is immediately pissed off. Ronnie and Sam are in the confessionals professing how great it is to be single. Since Mike was rejected, I feel like his ego and penis were hurt, so he goes over to Snooki and starts being a weird creep. And if you remember, this isn't the first time he's done this. He did it in Miami too. And when he was rejected by her there, like, he flew off of the handle.
I just think Mike is out of left field.
Snooki does not seem into it at all. And all the roommates seem creeped out by it. And also, speaking of being creeped out, Deena's kind of pressuring Paulie into making out with her. Deena goes through this really uncomfortable arc of being a sex pest with Paulie in Italy. I think she's trying to convince him to maybe sleep with her. That way, she thinks maybe she could get him to like her and they'll get into a relationship. And then they kiss. And their kiss is just, ugh. It's awful.
What do you want me to do?
Nothing?
Just tell me. Right now? Vinny's pissed.
You let me know, do you think Italy is the darkest season of Jersey Shore? If you would like to subscribe, I'll show you my dog. Oh. Say hi. Okay. Until next time, stay crazy, stay wild. Bye.